Bonjour and good morning. Today, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Estonia is welcoming you to the press conference of Foreign Minister of Estonia, Urmas Reinsalu, and Foreign Minister of France, Colonna. Some technical information for you, for those who are listening our press conference. This is held in 2 languages. In channel 1, you can listen it in French language, and on channel 2, it's in English. We begin with brief statements from both ministers, and after that, journalists have time for questions, and let's agree we have 2 questions for both ministers. So, Mr. Reinsalu, please.
So, Catherine, it's a great privilege to receive you here in Estonia, and it was very heartbreaking when you recognized President Lennart Meri's statue in the foyer of Ministry, and actually you were accompanying the President of French Republic in 2001 state visit, and I told you I was then Chief of Staff of President Meri office, and so we met each other. Although not recognizing each other from that time. But it is a particular context of war and crisis in Europe. And Estonia is a devoted friend of France, an ally, and we are truly grateful for this continuing security support and French military presence in Estonia. There is a company level, and we truly welcome the recent French decisions to continue on a consistent basis up to the 25 with this military presence in Estonia. And this is a gold value security assistance, and we do also in the same time tribute the continuing air policing of France, which has continued and is going to continue in future. We spoke today about the support to Ukrainian victory. Estonian position is clear that the Western countries need to provide all means of conventional weaponry to defend, to help to defend Ukraine against the Russian aggression, and the particular needs are indeed air defense systems, long-range missile systems. These, as we see before the winter fall, a Russian attempt to annihilate the civic infrastructure, as it is a further war crime of Russian Federation. And secondly, we addressed also today a need to ramp up the sanctions. We discussed about the 9th sanctions package, the need immediately to implement it, and also about the legal responsibility of Russian Federation. Estonian stance is clear that there should be no loopholes in international accountability for this aggression war organizers. And this is something international community needs to work out. And Estonia is proud to be a loyal partner to France in all matters, in all political matters, in all the security matters, and also ready to participate in different international missions where there is going to be needed. Thank you.
Merci, Monsieur le Ministre. Merci, Monsieur le Ministre Urmas, Mesdames et Messieurs.
Thank you, Minister.
La
Thank you, dear
concision
Urmas.
balte
Ladies and
était à
gentlemen.
l'œuvre. Je vais me permettre d'être un peu plus longue pour vous présenter quelques aspects
You've been very
dont nous avons
brief in
parlé
a
et de ce
Baltic
que nous
way,
pensons ensemble.
and I will take the floor slightly longer, if I may,
vous
to
demander
explain
au
what we're
préalable
doing
de
together.
bien vouloir me permettre
But
de m'exprimer en
please
français.
bear
si
with
le
me for
ministre
speaking
m'y autorise.
French, if the minister so
Merci
allows. Thank you for your welcome. Thank you for your warm welcome indeed. It is a pleasure for me to be back to Tallinn, where I came, as a matter of fact, together with the French President, Jacques Chirac, at the time, on the occasion of a state visit a few years ago, back in 2001. 10 years after the return of the independence of your country. But I did come as well in 2006. At the time, I was a junior minister in charge of European affairs, so it always is a pleasure to come back. Today, this is a brief visit of friendship, a visit of solidarity as well, and we just had a discussion with the minister, and I will later be meeting the Prime Minister as well. And like you said, Minister, this visit is taking place at a time of particular gravity. And please allow me to state once again that we strongly and totally condemn the unjustified, illegal and brutal aggression of Russia against Ukraine, an aggression that took place on the 24th of February, but that is continuing. And I would like to bring to your attention as well the fact that we very recently denounced Russia's lies about an alleged dirty bomb. These allegations are wrong, but are also of great concern because of what they say about the mindset and the attitude of Russia. So we're very much calling about Russia to adopt a more responsible attitude. France is strongly committed, together with its partners and allies. We strongly contribute to strengthening the Alliance Eastern flank, its defense and deterrence posture that works in favor of the security of and the stability not only of Estonia but of the Baltic region, Poland and Romania. We took the decision to deliver additional equipment, and in addition, we had a rotating presence with Denmark here, whereas now we are permanently present, not just with our Danish partner, but also with our British partner. So by this visit, I also meant to underline the strength of our political, military and diplomatic support to Estonia. A few words about our bilateral relationship. It is based on the strategic partnership that we signed a year and a half ago. The President of the Republic himself wanted it. This partnership gave a new dimension to our relationship and to our tradition of cooperation, which is outstanding, but there is still a lot we can look into, I believe. I thanked the Minister for the commitment of Estonia and for our cooperation, in particular in Africa, in the Sahel, where Estonia was the first European partner to commit militarily together with France and to bring its contribution to the stability and the fight against armed terrorist groups. Estonia has been doing it since 2018, and for 3 years you were the only European country committed in Balkan and the Takuba task force together with us. So I would like to thank Estonia and to tell you, Urma, that we will not forget it, also because this had a rippling effect on other member states of the European Union. We stand determined to act with the greatest possible firmness against Russia, and we shall reinforce once again our European sanctions if necessary, like you said. And the purpose of these sanctions, of course, is to hinder and, if possible, to suffocate the Russian war effort. We already adopted 8 sets of sanctions, not to mention those adopted on Monday, after we acknowledged the use of Iranian UAVs by Russia in Ukraine to target civilian infrastructure and I need not say that this is a war crime. And some other measures are being considered, like Minister said, both against Russia, if it were necessary, as well as to react to a greater involvement of Belarus in the conflict together with Russia, which we are hoping not to see. That would expose Belarus to additional sanctions. As you know, nonetheless, I would like to repeat it, that we will stand by Ukraine as long as necessary with a total support, political, humanitarian, diplomatic, military, economic and financial support. Both our countries over the past few weeks announced, 2 weeks, announced the delivery of additional equipment, military equipment and armament for Ukraine, while continuing to support at the European level the adoption of additional measures within the European Peace Facility. In Luxembourg, a few days ago, we added another 500 million euros, and today the European Peace Facility is helping Ukraine to the level of 3 billion euros that will be increased if necessary. We constantly adopt our support to the needs of Ukraine as expressed by its authorities in terms of air defense equipment, but also from a civilian point of view. And we talked together with the minister what we shall continue to deliver and how we can assist the Ukrainian people as winter approaches, and given that Russia is targeting part of the energy infrastructure of Ukraine. So our assistance shall include a civilian element so that we can help the Ukrainian people hold on good and be resilient against the Russian pressure. And we will work, as we've always done, to preserve the unity of the Europeans, because we can only be efficient if we stand united, and so far that enabled us to be efficient in supporting Kyiv. We will continue. We shall still be extremely determined and united. And I also would like to say that we talked about the necessity to continue to explain to third countries, those who are beyond Europe and beyond our allies within the international community. We're calling upon them to shoulder their responsibilities, be it at the General Assembly of the United Nations or elsewhere, because it is important to keep reminding every day that if this war, of course, is first and foremost relevant to Ukraine and to the Ukrainian people, this war brought back a conflict, a war on the European continent, but it also raises issues which are of interest for all the countries of the international community, because what is at stake is an attempt to trample on the most important principles of the United Nations Charter: integrity, sovereignty of states, territorial integrity, non-aggression, and this cannot be trampled on. And this is relevant to all countries within the international community, because it is in their interest to make sure that the principles of the Charter are complied with. We also talked about the fight against impunity. It is important that the abuses and crimes committed in Ukraine by Russia are prosecuted. So we're providing our support as Europeans, and France contributed by sending a number of investigators. Different missions went to Ukraine, including very recently, and I was in Kyiv to welcome the latest group of experts, French gendarmes. We're also supporting international justice by providing some financial and support, as well as by providing staff. And we all know that there will be no peace without justice. We also talked about energy, the price of energy, but I need not go back to that, given that we just heard from the European Council. So this is what I meant to say to you. Just like the Minister, I'm available to answer your questions.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Now we have time for some questions. Journalists, please raise your hand if you have a question, and then we will hand you a microphone. Tarmo, please.
Thank you. Tarmo Maibek from Public Broadcasting Company. So question to you, Madam Colonna. 2 weeks ago, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, was in Tallinn, and she gave her support to International Tribunal for War Crimes and also for aggression in Ukraine. You just mentioned that Russia is appalling activity in Ukraine, and also you said that the importance of UN principles needed to be guarded, etc. So do you support the creation of International Tribunal for War Crimes and Aggression, because victims in Ukraine are hoping for comfort and accountability? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. On a number of occasions, I spoke about this very recently again, further to the Foreign Affairs Council some 10 days ago in Luxembourg. And let me say once again briefly what our stance is. We resolutely, constantly support international justice so that these crimes do not remain unpunished. The tools that we currently have are Ukrainian justice, and I would like to add domestic justice, because a number of courts are handling some of these cases, including in France, and we are helping these courts to do their work by providing evidence of these crimes and making sure that evidence is being collected. And the second thing we're doing within the context of the existing international order is to support the International Criminal Court, because it is important that the ICC can do its work, can qualify these crimes, can prosecute. And let me remind you that the International Criminal Court can go after not only those, the perpetrators of crimes against humanity and other crimes, but also those responsible by going higher in the hierarchy. As to the specific issue of an international tribunal, we always say that we already have a number of tools available to us already to fight against impunity, and that on top of that we can consider the possibility of additional tools that do not exist at the moment that should have an added value to the existing international court system, and also would require the appropriate legitimacy so that there if such a court were to be set up, they could be perceived as being efficient and legitimate. We're not there yet. There are some ongoing thoughts. It's been on the agenda of the European Council of Foreign Affairs. But that being said, at the moment we shall do nothing that would impede the efficiency of existing tools which are already available to those who want to fight against the impunity of the war crimes committed in Ukraine.
Yes, I think it is of utmost importance to deliver justice, as colleagues said, that there will be no peace without justice. And therefore, Estonia does not see anyhow colluding the competences of ICC and also of particular separate legal panel as a tribunal on Russian Federation aggression crime, on aggression war against Ukraine. And therefore, we hope the European Commission will deliver a assessment which was asked by European Council, and we can move further in that matter. And this is of particular importance, that the mankind, the victims, and also these who are guilty will get strong message that there will be no any kind of loopholes in responsibility. And by saying that, let me reiterate what I stated, that now, for the sake of humanity, there is of utmost importance to deliver air defense systems. I do welcome the recent decision to send Crottage air defense mechanisms. But as I stated, there should be no any caveats to deliver also a medium and long-range air defense systems. I would call United States to consider to give to Ukrainians Patriots, and I would also call considering France to give a great Mamba medium-range air defense system. Thank you.
May I insist, those who are guilty and those who are responsible for ordering these acts. It's a key point.
Thank you. So, yes, please. Please wait for a microphone as well. Yeah, thank you. Mihhail, please wait. The microphone is here.
Thank you. My question will be about civilian help to Ukraine. As you can see, it's already pretty cold in Estonia. It's just October. It's not typical, but it might be a sign of a long and hard winter. So, of course, extremely important is to air defense, because I suppose one of the aims of Mr. Putin when he makes his strikes against infrastructure to make Ukrainian people life much harder. But are we ready to meet another wave of Ukrainian migrants, not only in France, but in Estonia as well, I'm afraid?
Yes, I think the core message actually of immense need to deliver air defense systems of different altitude capabilities is truly to defend civilian infrastructure of heating systems, of electric plants, of water cleaning facilities. And speaking about the possible wave of Ukrainian refugees, well, Ukrainian authorities have stated that this is one additional intent of Putin terrorist regime to push also people leave Ukraine, to arrange a new wave of refugees, because it will again as an interlink in harm sustainability of Ukrainian society, because we are aware that basically now 1/5 of Ukrainian population has either left as a refugees Ukraine or have been as an additional war crime deported against their will to Russian Federation. So we should be ready for this as a casualty of this annihilation attempt of civic infrastructure by Russian Federation. And what we should do, surely we will receive the people who are in need, but the core immense need is indeed to deliver air defense systems.
Merci. Je réponds également si vous le souhaitez.
May I as well answer if you so wish?
Nous sommes préoccupés par l'arrivée de l'hiver.
We are concerned as winter approaches, and I fully agree with what the minister just said, and we need both. That is, we need to help Ukraine defend itself, as we've been doing from the very beginning, including by strengthening our military contribution, be it at the national level or European level, and thanks to our allies as well. We're doing it at the national level by providing some additional deliveries of Sol air, as well as ground-to-air and ground-to-ground missiles. There are some additional deliveries coming, as announced. And in addition, we need to help the civilians, the people, to cope with winter by providing some concrete humanitarian assistance, by emergency reconstruction means, and very concretely by providing some heating systems, some first help kits as well. And like, as we discussed with the minister, we also need to add to what is being discussed at the European and international level, continue to work on the long-run reconstruction of Ukraine, add to that by organizing a conference on emergency reconstruction of Ukraine for this winter, what would be efficient, what would enable us to support the people of Ukraine this winter. So we're working on a proposal to that effect, and as I mentioned to the minister, the French president mentioned it at the end of the European Council last week in Brussels, and I believe we need to combine our efforts in order to help the civilian Ukrainian population in the weeks and the months to come.
Yes, thank you. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. Thank you, Madame Colonna. We hope to see everybody here soon again.
Thank you for speaking French. Congrats.